Hi, good evening. Welcome to our town board meeting for March 5th, 2019. We will also be having our CDA regular meeting this evening, but first we'll stand by for the pledge. Bob, you want to lead us, please?
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Jim, you have...
I don't see Reverend
Jennifer.
Wright here. I know Reverend Sean Murray was going to be here, but the time changed and the meeting changed through his schedule also. I know he could not be here. And I don't see the Reverend Wright here either. So I think because of the change in the sequence between 2 and 6, it threw everybody's schedule off. So we'll have to...
How about you lead us off in the prayer, Jim?
Oh, because I would probably say something I shouldn't say.
Oh, you can handle
But I think we all can be civil and we all can just clear our minds of what ails us and just be civil for the rest of this meeting. That's all we need to do.
it. Amen.
All right, we will move on to announcements. So our announcements today, as part of my 2019 Supervisors Listening Tour, I had to cancel one of them because of snow. So I'll be holding my final town hall style event in Wading River. This will be an opportunity for residents to discuss issues in their neighborhood and to ask questions. If you could please join me, I will be March 12th at 6 p.m. at the Wading River Congregational Church, and I hope that to see you there. Congregational, sorry. Sorry. And then also the 2019 Winterfest is in full swing, and that goes on until March 24th. You can find that online at winterfest.com. You can enjoy Riverhead's vineyards, our breweries, hotels, musics, artisans, bakers, performers, and more. They also have the, part of the Winterfest is our ongoing farmers market we have in downtown Riverhead on Saturdays. I think that is 10 to 2. And also the Winterfest, if you use NOFO 19, Lyft will be providing free rides during the event. In recognition of Women's History Month, the Town of Riverhead Veterans Advisory Committee announces Operation Eagle Heart, a celebration of women in the military and women veterans from the Town of Riverhead. That will be Sunday, March 24th at 5 p.m. at Polish Hall on Marcy Avenue, and you can contact Kerry at 631-258-3590. So for more information, it is 631-258-3590 for tickets and veteran sponsorship opportunities. And just once again, a reminder that in order for your letters and emails to be added to the public record for town hall meetings, you need to send them to the town clerk, Diane Wilhelm, and you can email them to townclerk@townofriverhead.ny.gov, or you may mail them to 200 Howell Avenue, Riverhead, New York, 11901, to the attention of the town clerk. And once again, I continue to remind you to sign up for email notifications, where you'll be notified by email of upcoming events, any of the meeting agendas and other town events. You just go to Riverhead, townofriverheadny.gov, and you can click on e-notifications tab, and you can sign up for whatever email notifications you would like to receive. So those are my announcements for this evening. And now can I have a first and second for...
Well, also, I just want to say, this past weekend was a pretty good weekend. That on Saturday, they honored Chief Joe Grattan as the Grand Marshal for the St. Patrick's Day Parade, which will be the end of the month. And that was a good event. And that was followed down at the Senior Center with the Riverhead Teen Idol competition, which was unbelievable. We had 17 young people from the high school, actually from 7th grade through 12th grade, compete. And we had judges there, and we had over 200 people there to watch it.
Wow.
If you didn't get a chance to come down and see it live, it was really a pretty impressive show. If you go to Riverhead Recreation Department Facebook page, they have the show on the Facebook. So, and I'm trying to get a copy of that so we can show it in 22, but
Okay.
I don't know what through copyright law if we can take anything off of Facebook, but we'll see. And that's it.
All right, very good, exciting. And there were, how many, there was one winner and then
There was
some...
3 winners.
3 winners and then some flower winners?
Well, we gave flowers to our seniors who've been with us for 5 years.
Okay.
And then we had 5 of those, and then the three prizes were, the first place prize was a $250 gift certificate to Tanger, along with $200 cash, and a 2-hour recording studio at Southampton. And And then the second prize was a $200 gift certificate and $150 cash, and the third prize was, I think, a $150 gift certificate and $80 cash or something like that. I forgot how it worked out, but, and they all got time in a recording studio at the Southampton Youth Center.
Oh, nice. And so that, it's held every year, so if somebody was thinking that I wanna make sure that I can participate in it next year, how do they sign up for it?
Well, actually, it's done through the schools. So we get a notification out to the schools, Rivet High School and Middle School. We did reach out to Shoreham School this year, and we used to reach out to Mercy, but of course they went away. But we normally go through the school and through the guidance counselors and through the music
So
departments.
they could ask their guidance
Yeah,
counselor.
and we always try to work it out so there's not a show going on or testing going on. So it's always a fine line between February and March to try to get that show on.
Very good, thank you. All right, so moving on, just a first and second for the approval of the town board minutes from February 20th, 2019, the 6 PM meeting. Can I have a first and second?
Also move it.
Second?
First and seconded, vote please.
Kent,
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Giglio,
Yes.
Wooten,
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
The minutes are approved. Want me to go right into my
Yes,
area
please.
there? Okay. Under correspondence, we had 4 letters expressing concerns and opinions over the proposed special permit, application of URT. The agenda says that we had 4 letters, for the next topic, but there were 2 additional letters that came in late. And this was expressing concerns and opinions regarding, the presentations or proposal of a food waste facility at Youngs Avenue. There was also emails from a citizens committee called EPCAL Watch, expressing their opinions regarding the EPCAL deal involving 555 employee. There was a letter from William Van Hillman, offering suggestions for financial solutions for roadway improvements to Sound Avenue and Penny's Road intersection. Under reports, the tax receiver utility collection report was $478,736.26. There were 3 reports for tax collection, but I'll just read the last one. Total tax collection to date as of February 27th was $85,410,707.93. The building department submitted their February monthly report for $62,065.50. Town clerk, February monthly report, $8,974.72. That's all I have.
All right. Before we go into the public hearings, I'm going to move to, if it's okay with everybody, move to close the regular town board meeting and open up the regular CDA meeting.
I'll second that motion.
All right, Dawn, do you wanna? So I just have to have a vote for that.
You wanna call it?
Yeah.
Sure. To open the meeting, Kent,
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Giglio,
Yes.
Wooten,
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
The meeting is now open. We need to approve the minutes of the CDA regular meeting on February 5th.
Okay, can I have a first and second for approval of the minutes for February 5th, 2019 at 2 PM?
Motion.
Second?
Everybody said.
Okay, I have a motion and a second, you can pick who
Okay,
you want.
Who made the motion?
Hubbard.
Tim.
Okay, and who was the second?
Jody.
Jody, okay. Okay, Kent,
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Giglio,
Yes.
Wooten,
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
The minutes of the February 5th meeting are approved. And then we have comments on resolutions. Do you wanna?
Yeah, I would just like to say the only resolution before us this evening is to amend the Code of Ethics. And essentially what it is it's changing the word directors to members. It is changing, that's really all it is, changing it from directors to members. And then the last, section 3, B and C, is the disclosure procedure. And it basically just says that you don't have to file a disclosure affidavit with the CDA and the town clerk. The one with the town clerk is acceptable for both agencies, whether it's the CDA or the town board. So, really, that's it. And then it says that the Town of Riverhead Board of Ethics shall be charged with the duty of hearing and deciding any complaints or questions filed pursuant to this policy, which is something they're already doing. But those are the changes to the ethics code for the CDA.
Is there anybody from the public that would like to comment on this resolution? Seeing nobody, can I have a first and second to adopt an amendment to the Ethics Code of the Community Development Agency?
Motion.
I'll second.
I have a first and second, vote please.
Kent,
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Giglio,
Good housekeeping, Dawn, thank you, yes.
Wooten,
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
The resolution is adopted, and I guess you can move to
Yep,
adjourn.
can I get a first and second to close the CDA meeting and to reopen the town board meeting?
I move we close the CDA meeting and open the town board meeting.
And I'll second that.
Okay, we have a first and second, vote
Okay,
please.
Kent,
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Giglio,
Yes.
Wooten,
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes,
The meeting is adjourned.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's the second night you stayed here late.
So, Diane, here the public hearings are in, are they I'm just looking on the Granicus where they are. Okay, got it, all right, yep. At this time, it is 6:15, so we will open our public hearings. Our first public hearing is Chapter 289, Vehicles, Traffic, and Parking Regulations, Article 2, Traffic Regulations, Section 289-2, Stop and Yield Intersections, Railroad Crossing, Parking Fields. The first public hearing is Arrowhead Avenue, Calico Court, Old Farm Road, Bay Court, Buckskin Lane, and Roan Lane. Bob, do you want to address these?
Actually, I'll address it as the liaison to Traffic Safety Committee.
Can we
The-
let Bob go?
He wasn't
you
there,
wanna-
but, go ahead, Bob, you wanna?
You,
I
Bob?
mean, I know it came from traffic advisory.
Yep.
I know that the chief had asked our office to help prepare his
Mm-hmm.
resolution. The first thing that's being done is there's going to be an elimination of 4 yield intersections. The yield intersections are denoted as subsection B on page 2 of the notice. And we're going to be adding, I think it's 10 new stop signs throughout the community. This is something that came to the Traffic Advisory Board from the folks at Two Bears Project, 2 of whom I see in the room with us at this time, at least 2. And I know that, we're here to hear the public's comments with respect to, 1, eliminating those yield signs, replacing them with stop signs, and then adding additional stop signs at the locations that are set forth in the public hearing notice.
Yes, and the chief and I did go and spend about an hour driving through the community and looking at all the intersections and making sure your safety was, put at the top priority. So we decided to make these changes, and the chief brought them forward. Thank you, chief. And thank you for bringing it to the Traffic Safety Committee. And anybody can bring any matter to the Traffic Safety Committee. They can call my assistant Karen, and she will put you on the agenda, and you can come in and discuss it with us. It's an open meeting, and we're pretty friendly, right?
If there's anybody from the public, if you'd like to come up and address the board at all?
Nice hat.
I know, that's what I said. I like the hat.
Hi, my name is Natalie Lensky. I'm from Roan Lane in the Bear Estate community. And I'd just like to say it was most important, particularly because there was a park in our development. And not only did we get the community to sign, but we also got a few people who frequent the park from the town. And that was important as well, to hear their voice and to know that their children are safe when they come to visit. Thank you. Thank you for listening to us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Used to play tennis there all the time.
And any other comments from the board? Hearing none, I will close this public hearing and leave it open for a written comment until March 15th. At this time, it is now 6:20. We will move on to the second public hearing, which was to begin at 6:10, which is Chapter 289, Vehicles, Traffic, and Parking Regulations, Article 2, Traffic Regulations, Section 289-2, Stop and Yield Intersections, Railroad Crossings, Parking Fields, Church Lane, and Tuttle's Lane. Bob, do you wanna?
Yeah, this, again, was brought from the Traffic Advisory Board, Traffic Advisory Committee. And similar sort of occurrences happening. We're eliminating a yield sign, for those who are familiar with the intersection of Church and Tuttle's.
It's dangerous.
What we're doing is we're taking the yield sign off of Tuttle's, and that's from from south heading north when you intersect with Church. And that's gonna be replaced with a stop sign. So cars coming from Tuttle's north approaching Church will have to come to a full stop. so there's gonna be a stop sign south, from the south. In addition to that, there's a little turn off, and there's gonna be a stop sign placed on Church as you make the right to, on Tuttle Lane Extension, and there's also going to be, well, now I got myself polished.
So you're making the hand
There's
gesture.
there's two of them on Tuttle Lane Extension, one where at the intersection with Church and one with the intersection with Tuttle. So there's gonna be 3 stop signs that'll get put up at the location. One on the east side, and we're referring to the little turnoff as Tuttle Lane Extension to differentiate it from Tuttle's. Okay?
Did anyone,
That's that little bend, there's a little grassy
Just
area.
past Promenade Drive, whatever it is,
Yeah,
past
it's-
Peacock Court, or whatever it is.
It's actually, I'm not sure if I
Peabody
can.
Court, what is it called?
Yeah, Peacock, Peabody?
Peacock.
Yes,
It's
that's
right at
where
the
it is.
intersection. It's all at the
It's Peacock
intersection
Road.
Yeah,
of Church and
that's where it
Tuttle's.
Peacock Road.
So, one yield's coming down and 3 stop signs going up.
Okay, I like it. I thought this was more where Church branches off, and then you got Phillips, so that's a,
No,
we'll deal
no,
with that later.
this is
That's our next.
On the other side.
over closer, on
Near
the east
cemetery.
side.
Yeah, there we
Correct.
go, yeah.
We've talked about that intersection of Church and Phillips for a very long time. The guy that lives on the corner right there of Church and Phillips is always afraid of someone running into
Oh,
his
that's
house.
good, that's bad, but all right, they're both bad, actually.
all right, is there anyone from the public that would like to come up and comment?
Bless you.
Seeing nobody, I will close the public, hearing, leave it open for written comment until March 15th. At this time, we will move on to resolutions. If there is anybody from the public that would like to come up and comment on any of the resolutions, please come up. Seeing nobody, we will move on to resolutions.
Resolution 160.
160 promotes an auto mechanic 2 in the municipal garage. So moved.
Second,
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent.
yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 161.
Amends adopted rules and procedures for Town Board of the Town of Riverhead, so moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes, this just basically adds one line that was in state law that says that any real estate transactions that the town is doing, that could be discussed in executive session, so that's the change to that. Yes,
Wooten.
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes, it is a couple more than that. My computer went out, so I'm just getting it back here, hold on. Bob, do you wanna address this? This is adopts the rules and procedures.
Yeah,
We've
let me-
added,
let
I
me
think,
pull out,
6
'cause
sections.
I had made some notes. In 2013, the town, at 2 different meetings, adopted rules and procedures for the conducting of town board meetings. The first one was the first meeting in March 5th, the second one was March 19th. Since that time, we've continued forward, and then recently we looked at, examined the idea of changing the town board rules, and they're principally on the first page under Rule 1. The old rules reflected an alternating time of 2 and 7 p.m. Since the board has been going to 2 and 6, the updated rules reflect the alternating time of 2 and 6.
I thought we were eliminating the times altogether.
Well, we also said as established by resolution. The board has generally, and I think historically, in February and May, always had their second meeting the third Wednesday. So, the week that the kids have off from school, which is also Association of Towns, the town board has traditionally met at Wednesdays. And in May, it's the grievances are held here. So both of those will be reflected in this new rules as being conducted on the third Wednesday of those months. Then the major change is below, where it broke out the discussion that deals with how executive sessions are going to be conducted, and then indicates that with respect to executive sessions, when the town board essentially moves into the subject matters that are 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 different subject matters, those will be considered as confidential, and therefore, once the town board moves into executive session to discuss them, they will be sacrosanct, for lack of a better way of saying them, and they'll remain in executive session.
But those were always confidential, weren't they?
No, under the, well, there's a little bit of a difference of opinion. If you look at what the AG's office has said, town board can adopt rules or adopt a local law to make them confidential. If you look at what Bob Freeman has written over time, he's indicated that just because the subject matter is executive session, it can be moved into executive session, it does not equal or is not the equivalent of a confidential or privileged matter.
So this is making all of it confidential?
Correct.
So that wasn't in the old rules?
That was not in the old rules. So everything that continues from the second paragraph, the town board may elect to move.
Can you read
That-
those off, please?
Sure. So what's new is the town board may elect to move into an executive session as provided under Public Officers Law, Section 105. Subject matters that shall be considered confidential or privileged when discussed in an executive session are as follows. Sub 1, or I, matters which would imperil public safety if disclosed, period. 2, any matter which may disclose the identity of a law enforcement agent or informer. 3, information relating to current or future investigation or prosecution of a criminal offense which would imperil effective law enforcement if disclosed. 4, proposed, pending, or current litigation. 5, the medical, financial, credit, or employment history of any person or corporation or matters leading to the appointment, employment, promotion, demotion, discipline, suspension, dismissal, or removal of any person. 6, collective bargaining negotiations. And 7, the proposed acquisition, sale, or lease of real property, or the proposed acquisition of securities, or sale or exchange of securities held by such public body, but only when publicity would substantially affect the value thereof. So those are the changes that are set forth on the Rule 1, page 1. The only other change that was made was to Rule 5. It previously was in male, or only said he, now it says he, she.
Thank you.
He, she.
Good job, Bob.
Very politically correct.
Yes.
PC.
Glad we got that done.
So we're,
Well, really, the only thing that was done is that, just clarifying that the supervisor can't seek outside advice when it comes to the employment of somebody, and neither can anybody on the town board, is really, it's making it confidential.
no, that, I'm not sure what you're saying.
Well, I'm saying that you spoke to somebody that is not related to the town in his capacity, and sought advice on who to hire for water district superintendent.
That has nothing to do with these rules.
Okay, well, I thought it did when it came to hiring potential employees, especially after you've interviewed all the people, but anyway, we'll keep
honestly
more
don't
in executive
understand what
session
you're
and
saying.
less transparency.
I don't either, but it's already
Yeah,
been
I don't
voted
know,
on
I'm
and
sure that
approved,
was
so
trying to
thank you
say
for the
something, but I'm not sure what it
Thank you
was.
for
So
the
this is-
clarification.
So where are we, Diane?
More in executive, less transparency.
This is not more an executive, less transparency. These are all the matters that we were, prior to this being put in there, were the reasons that we went into executive. These are the items that are in the open meetings law in which you're allowed to go into
No.
an executive session before, and now they're put into our rules of the town board of the town of Riverhead.
Okay, so open meetings law says that some of these things are privileged and some of them are confidential. You're making, this resolution is making them all confidential.
Bob, do you wanna
correct?
clarify this? It's the reasons for being able to go into an executive session.
Bob,
again,
open meetings law
Yes,
says you can go into executive session to discuss these items,
correct.
but it doesn't say that they're confidential. It says that they're privileged. Some of them are.
That's not what, no.
No, the opinions from Robert Freeman, who is the
It's not on everything
Committee on Open
discussed.
Government, states that, first and foremost, the word may is set forth in the open meetings law. So when a board goes into executive session, it's a permissive act, not a mandatory act.
Right.
And all of the matters that the town board can go into an executive session on, because there was one that we talked about at the work session, which is not included in here because it didn't really seem applicable. There's 8 separate subject matters that the board can move into an executive session to have a discussion on. Mr. Freeman's opinion, fairly consistently, has been that just because you decide to go into an executive session, it doesn't mean it's confidential or privileged.
Right.
This is not changing the board's ability to choose to go into executive session or not go into executive session. Nothing mandates that you do it, but should you do it, once you do so, the 7 matters that are listed will be considered privileged and confidential. So things that are said during that meeting should not be repeated outside of the meeting.
And there's a vote taken to go into the meeting, and the items listed to go into the meeting
You
about
still
are
have to
voted,
move, you still have to
are
move
voted on
into
prior
the,
before going into the meeting.
you still have to move into an executive session the way you would otherwise, which is by a motion of a board member, identifying the reason you're going into an executive session, a second, and a vote.
Thank you, Bob.
Thanks, Bob.
Thanks. Okay,
It's all been voted on. Next
so we moved and seconded,
Has it all been
Everybody
voted?
voted, I think.
Everybody voted.
Did you vote too?
Okay.
Okay.
yes.
And a resolution adopted. Resolution 162.
Appoints maintenance mechanic 2s to the Riverhead Water District, so moved.
Seconded?
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 163.
Appoints police officers to the police department, so moved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 164.
All right, it's getting there. Hold on now. It offers support to New York State Legislature to amend Chapter 399 of the laws of 2008 relating to giving the Riverhead Town Board the discretion to change speed limits. Senate Bill S. 3229 and Assembly Bill A. 5806. So moved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Give it another shot. Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes,
Well,
well,
the 30
hopefully the
years.
11th time will be the charm.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 165.
Approve settlement of claim by LIPA against the town of Riverhead. So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
What a shame that our officer is pursuing the bad guy and crashes the car and wrecks the LIPA pole and we have to pay for the pole. Yes.
Wooten.
Yeah, it doesn't show good. I mean, of course, we're gonna do it. It's insurance, but I vote yes, but I'm not happy about it.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 166.
Authorizing removal of fixed assets, so moved.
Seconded?
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 167.
Authorizes acceptance of deed for non-motorized trail from the town of Riverhead Community Development Agency to the town of Riverhead. So moved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Finally, yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 168.
Authorizes a settlement of legal action in the matter of the town of Riverhead versus Lucille Holt et al., 76 Creek Road, Wading River, New York. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 169.
Resolution designated certain properties as blighted in accordance with Chapter 217, Part 6, Article 18, 217-110 of the Town Code of the Town of Riverhead, and scheduling a public hearing to consider authorizing various actions be taken upon such properties. So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 170.
Authorizes notice of public hearing to reduce from 300 to 277 units of Riverhead Flag Corporation and accept declaration of covenants and restrictions to limit and exhaust all remaining rights to construct condominium units approved by special permit of the town board by resolution number 680 dated November 3rd, 1982. So moved.
Seconded?
Moved and seconded, but before we, Bob, did we table this one last time?
No, there was a
Changed.
different resolution. The prior resolution
Was
did
pulled.
not call for a public hearing. This one is calling for a public hearing so that we can hear from anybody who's got a potential interest
Okay.
to hopefully put them on notice that what we're looking to do is take that 1982 resolution, which was done when Flag was originally the applicant. They had 300 condominium units, and we're now looking to limit them to 277.
Okay.
So that didn't include, that was just,
That-
it
this-
was just an acceptor, that one just accepted the covenants. It
Okay.
didn't have a public hearing.
Okay, didn't have a public hearing.
Yeah.
Okay, moved and seconded, any other discussion? Vote, please.
Kent,
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Giglio,
Yes to the public hearing.
Wooten,
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 171.
Accepts the retirement of a police officer, so moved.
I'll second that one.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent,
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Giglio,
Good luck in your retirement, yes.
Wooten,
Goodbye, yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 172.
This accepts the retirement of a Bay Constable, so moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent,
Best of luck to Jim Divan, yes.
Hubbard,
Yeah, Jim has kept our bays and sound front safe for many years. Done a great job as our bay constable. I wish him the best in his retirement, so yes.
Giglio,
Ditto, yes.
Wooten,
Yes, absolutely.
Jen Smith.
Yes, and hopefully we'll be able to go out boating and relax now.
Do it for fun.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 173.
Approves Chapter 255 application of Sport Car Club of America, New York Region Car Control Clinic Solo Driving Event. So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent,
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten,
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 174.
Approves Chapter 255 application of Event Power Riverhead Rocks Run, Sunday, March 24th, 2019. So
Second-
moved.
Seconded?
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent,
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten,
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 175.
Authorizes application to Suffolk County for HUD home funds and authorizes supervisor to execute grant agreement, so moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent,
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten,
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 176.
Authorization to publish advertisement for automotive parts for the town of Riverhead, so moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent,
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten,
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 177.
Order calling public hearing in the matter of the increase and improvement of the facilities of the Riverhead Water District in the town of Riverhead, Suffolk County, New York. So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Do you have to call this is just the way it's written is for the public hearing itself? Not the order calling? So moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent,
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten,
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 178.
Authorizes town clerk to publish and post notice to bidders for dry hydrated lime calcium hydroxide. So moved.
Seconded?
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent,
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten,
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 179.
Budget transfer, so moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent,
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten,
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 180.
180 sets the 2019 hourly rate for a call-in clerk, so moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent,
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten,
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 181.
Resolution calling public hearing regarding lateral water main extension for Tractor Supply Company, retail development on Middle Country Road in Calverton, New York. So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent,
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten,
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 182.
Authorizes the publication of a help wanted advertisement regarding the attendance at the Suffolk County Police Academy. So moved.
Seconded?
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent,
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten,
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution,
And this is for part-time, part-time police officers.
Correct.
183.
Authorizes the Recreation Department to provide parking stickers at no charge to Riverhead Fire Departments, ambulance companies, and Riverhead veterans. So moved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent,
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten,
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 184.
This authorizes the extension of time for payment of real property taxes for load or designated non-paid federal employees. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent,
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten,
Yes.
Jen Jen Smith.
Yes, and this extends the time for when the government was shut down for their employees. They have until, instead of the January 10th deadline, they now have the till April 25th to pay without any penalties experienced. So yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 185.
Rescinds Resolution 2018-818 and authorizes the creation and appointment of members to an Environmental Advisory Committee. I would like to amend the resolution to include Cynthia Turner,
Nagone,
Nagone,
I think.
at Catherine's request to have the resolution amended. So I make a motion, we amend the resolution, and I move it forward.
Tim, that's you.
Second.
Moved and seconded as amended. Vote, please.
Kent.
I'm excited to get started with the environmental committee. Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 186.
Authorization to publish advertisement for purchase of one used steel flatbed tow truck for use by the Town of Riverhead Municipal Garage. So moved.
Seconded?
Moved and seconded. Vote, please.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
I wanna do a happy dance. Yes, it's about time. Thank you, Gio.
Wooten.
I'd like to see that.
I'm gonna vote yes for a used one, but why we can't scrape and buy something that's gonna last for 25 years is beyond me. So I'll vote yes for the used.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 187.
As you go. Good job, Ozone.
Oh, I have it up. Interior and exterior signage for the town of Riverhead, so moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Vote, please.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 188.
Pays the bills. So moved.
Seconded?
Moved and seconded. Vote, please.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted.
Thank you. At this time, I ask anybody from the audience that would like to come up and address the board to please come up, state your name, and you can address the board. If you need to go to the podium if you wanted to address the board.
Hi there, my name is Susan. I don't live in Riverhead. I've never been to a town board meeting. I live in Medford, I'm sorry. I own a children's consignment event that holds its event twice a year at the Riverhead Polish Hall. I know that there are new requirements for the special events application. I received an email in January that said that the new application would be posted on February 28th. I called the town clerk's office. I said, I need to submit my application before then. They said, that's great, submit the old form. I said, okay, fabulous. Submitted my old form. I've never seen the new application, or I don't go to town board meetings. I don't visit publications or anything like that. So, I don't know. So, I got my application returned to me along with a copy of the new application. Great, love it. I'm ready to fill it out, send it back in, $650, because my event's about 1,200 people. I was told that it was denied. I was late. I missed a grace period. I said, what grace period? Apparently I should have known that there was a grace period. I was not aware that there was a grace period. I only got an email stating that the new application would be updated on the 28th. So I guess what I'm asking, I think that there kind of needs to be a little bit longer of a transition period. I assumed that when I spoke to the town board that I would have a transition period. I just want to submit my application, that I'm kind of on the cusp of the old plus the new, and I was told no. I spoke to the town supervisor. I think he's in the room, and I apologize if I was snarky.
No, I would be the town supervisor, so you could have spoken
Oh,
to one
okay.
of my staff
It
members.
was, I was snarky, sorry. But I really just wanted to, fill out the application and submit it, and I was a little, I wasn't not aware. I don't know why, if I received an email, why there wasn't more information about deadlines on it. I mean, you had the opportunity, it just stated that the new application would be on the 28th, and since it didn't apply to me, I submitted the old one. So going back and forth, I guess I'm asking for a longer transition period. I'm asking for my application to be accepted. I will gladly pay my $650 and all the fines that you want to assess on top of it. I'm not a fundraiser. I have an event that's already been advertised. I'm on the front page of magazines already. We're at the Riverhead Polish Hall. We have about 400 moms that are already preparing their items to sell. They get money and they use it for vacations and dance classes, and I hate to disappoint all of them, not to mention the 1,200 or so shoppers that are all people from Riverhead and the surrounding areas. I can't postpone the event. No matter how I postpone the event, I still don't fall within those 6-month guidelines.
But there were guidelines for the old application also, which you
Yes,
filled
so
out
they
several
were
times, correct?
Yeah, 40 days.
So, but if you,
Yes.
if it's over a certain number of people, you're having 1,200 people, I
Yeah.
believe that it's 120 days for even the old application
No.
to have been filled out?
No,
For
40.
over 1,000, for over 1,000 people?
40. It's always been 40. So-
Not, is it over 40? I think,
Well, I think the difference was in the prior application, it was at any given time, as opposed to over the entire
Right.
event.
That's,
So,
that's correct.
Okay.
so I think because the language in the past was over at any given time, she was.
okay, so it was 40
It
days
was
though?
40-day period.
Yeah.
But you didn't submit in the 40-day period even on the old application, correct?
I think I was right on the cusp. I submitted it on the.
You submitted it
26th.
after the 40 days, so it was less than
Yes.
40
Now-
days to your event. And I just for a little clarification why this happened, why we switched everything, why we lengthened the time, it's actually for issues like this.
Yes.
Because what was happening is people were coming and submitting their applications, they weren't even following the 40-day application. And it then put a lot of stress on the town to be able to approve these applications when, you know, whether there was police involved, we have fire marshal involved, and all of these other things. So the new, I believe a letter was mailed to you notifying you, because it was, well, there was a letter sent to the same address where you had applied your application last time.
Yes.
I believe it's the same address that you used again this time for filing the application. I'm not understanding why the US Postal Service didn't serve you with that letter. I don't have an answer for that. But the reason that we did this, and we did this, when we do change a code in the town, so Diane, how is that done? There's public notice to it?
Oh,
Could you
yes,
just
yeah, there's a
let us
public
know how?
hearing. The public hearing is, notice is adopted by resolution at the town board. It's put into the paper as a public hearing, and anybody's allowed to come and speak at that public hearing, give their opinions and their thoughts and so forth. And then it's adopted afterward, a few weeks after that.
And the town board also did hold work sessions. We had, I think, we worked very hard on this. I'm gonna say at least 3 or 4 work sessions over several months, going over the chapter 255 application. So there was a lot of notice out there into the public. You know, you know, you're asking for exception for yours, we did change these back in January, I think it was. We did give a grace period for a period of time, for people to come in and file under the old application. I believe, we had at least, I think last year we maybe had 43 events. We notified that those had events, at least 27 of those groups came in and filed their application within the period that they needed to file those applications within. And with the new applications, we did give extended periods of time for someone to come in and fill out their application, and then even pay a late penalty to come up to the date, and then at a certain point, there was no longer an application accepted for the event. So my other question to you would be, you know, you, even under the old application, if you've advertised for this event, when you never submitted an application to the town to have your event, is one of the other issues that we've struggled with on many events, and that was another reason that we changed our events, just so that we didn't have situations where people were coming to us saying, I've advertised my event, I have people coming, I have things set up, and events that, as you know you need an application and a permit to have the event, and you know you need to have that in place to have your event, and you didn't have that in place, and you advertise your event. So, you know, I'm very sorry that you kind of got stuck in this situation, but we have put things out there. Even if you were under the old application, you didn't put your application in time for that.
Can I ask you a question? How many years have you been doing this?
Since 2012,
So 7 years? This is your 7th event at the Polish Hall?
14th, yes, we do it twice a year.
Twice a year she does it.
Yeah, so I just wanna mention again, I'm not a business owner in Riverhead, So I'm not privy to Riverhead publications, I don't receive Riverhead alerts, I don't know about Riverhead town meetings
I don't
and-
read them either.
But even
So-
under the old application
so-
that you
but
filled out
also,
13 other times.
So under the old application, I know what you're saying in theory, yes, I agree with you, but if we're honest, that's not how it worked in practice. So I know that I have sent in my application under the 40 days, and it has been accepted and approved, and and I'm sure that that's not how you wanted it, and kudos
And
to
that's why,
everybody.
and that's why we had to
Yes.
change it, because of
Yes.
just those situations, so
Ab-
I'm sorry that you're getting
Absolutely.
caught in that,
Absolutely, absolutely, I understand that, but that's not how it really worked in practice. So what I'm asking is if,
You're
And
saying
ex-
your application's denied, you've booked the Polish Hall, you have advertised, you have all these people coming, you have all these I really think that there should be more of a grace period for these applicants, in my personal opinion. That we adopt a law, that it affects people, that they're used to the old practices, and I just think that there should be some sort of amnesty or grace period from the time the law is adopted. That's my personal opinion, because
don't-
I would
I don't-
hate to see you cancel the event.
I don't disagree with that, but the problem is we have already had applicants come in that were past the time frame and they've had to pay more money
I'll pay more money.
because they
Well,
missed.
she's already admitted she'll pay the money, which really is,
I'm not,
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the end game. So,
well,
it's just a matter of, I was against the laws anyway, but I'm not gonna go into that. But there's an established event, and realize, that first year, I mean, even when they changed highway speed limits, they give grace periods, so people get used to it. So, I grant you that if you don't read the paper, if you're not watching Channel 22 or keeping up on all of that, and believe me, there's 36,000 people in this town and probably 35,800 don't pay attention to it. I could see why it would fall through the cracks.
Diane, when was this, when did this take effect?
December.
It was December, and so we sent,
Say December.
all the letters were sent out to anybody that had previously had an event.
Right, it was made effective 60 days from filing with the Secretary of State. I think my understanding, the board adopted the local law on, December 18th.
And we gave it a
Not
2-month
filed
grace.
with the Secretary of State, and I
Well, you
guess
have
we
to.
got a letter, Diane talked to a letter on Christmas Eve.
We
Then
had-
60 days from then.
Right.
It would be February 24th is the end of the grace period that we created. The board wants to give more leeway for people.
It wasn't a grace period, it's the time that it takes the law to get into place.
No,
It was a grace
it
period.
was a grace period that we put in. We put in the 60-day grace period. We sent out the notices to everybody that previously had events. As I said, a letter was sent to you at the address that was on your previous application, which is the same address that is on this current application now.
maybe somebody threw it out. I don't know. I have no reason not to comply, because I'm certainly not arguing I'm not opposing it. I wanna fill it out. I didn't receive the letter. There was an email sent to me stating that the new application would be posted on the 28th. There was no other information there. It was
So
a perfect
I'm assuming
opportunity.
that if somebody said if you had called prior to that, somebody had said if you wanted to fill out the old application, you need to do it before the 28th of February?
No. I called up, I said,
But the 28th of February would still be 40 days before your event?
the 28th of February, no,
40
it's a little over that time limit, no.
So you wouldn't have been in the 40 days even on the old application?
No, but in practice, I don't think anyone was within the 40 days, and we weren't denied. I mean, there's still a policy and a practice.
That's why we changed our,
Right.
policy
Yes,
and our practice.
correct.
Yeah,
Right.
and I agreed that we changed it, and I think we changed it for the right reasons, but I'm not sure I agree with how we got the information or didn't get it out to the people, and I hate to, she runs a great program, I have to say, I'm not doing a commercial for her, but she provides a need to a lot of parents that have excess children's clothing, toys, outfits, different things that they sell like on consignment, and they can make a little money for it, and it helps people go there and buy things for their kids at a much reduced rate than,
I am not,
You know,
I'm
I
not
just-
disputing
I
it at all.
can't-
You are
I
for
feel-
profit though, correct? You're not a
Yes.
not-for-profit, you're a for-profit
Yes.
organization. So it's a for-profit organization.
right.
And the
and-
400 sellers that participate in our event, they get, I pay them out hundreds, if not over $1,000 each.
But this, event was also advertised before any permit was even applied for.
I'm well aware, I'm well aware. I hate like the devil doing this to people, because I'm pretty sure we have somebody else sitting in the audience that's gonna get up and address us about a not-for-profit in the same situation. And my answer to him was, well, we already have taken one in, but if we've taken one in, we didn't take it in, they were late, so they have to pay the extra money.
And we had 27 people out of, I think we sent how many letters out that were
And
sent
they
out?
all came in on the same day.
And they all came in, right, they all came in, and all of those people changed their schedules, they redid whatever they needed to do, they got their organizations together, and whoever they needed to contact, they got all of their information in within that 60-day grace period. So we're telling them that all of their efforts and paying attention to what we asked them to do, they didn't need to do it.
I don't think
And
they would
had I
feel upset
received-
that some people slipped through the cracks and just didn't get the
And
information.
I think it says a lot about this town board where we take this. I can't wait to see how this discussion ends up.
Yeah. I can't see forcing you to cancel the event.
Thank you.
Me either. I can't. In good, just in humanity reasons, I can't. It's just not right. It's not right.
I think
We
that-
enacted the law, we did it.
Yeah.
I'm guilty, I did it, I voted for it. But really hoping that we put enough in place that everybody got the adequate notice to know this is what they had to do. In another gentleman's situation, a notice wasn't even sent to his organization, because he's not necessarily an every year doer of that.
But if you're not an every year applicant, then you would look online, right, and the new,
Yeah, but if you did it 2 or
Well,
3
we'll hear
years
from
ago
him.
and you didn't do it last, I think it sends a bad note from the town to people trying to do business here and to our community.
And people that are paying our local businesses to rent event spaces for the day and how it helps those people pay their taxes.
I think that we did it for the right reasons.
We did.
I mean, and this is
We did.
actually, no offense to you, but this is an example of why we did
Exactly,
it.
exactly.
And, we need to really get strict on it. I mean, it's difficult for me to shut down her events and she has already advertised, and obviously she made a mistake. She admits she made a mistake, she's willing to pay the late fee, and, since we're right in the beginning, I think maybe we could be a little more flexible.
so what are you proposing?
That we have a special meeting on Thursday and we adopt a resolution that waives the time period in which to file and she pays the penalties.
Okay, but this is one person, what about the next 6 people that
We
come
do
in?
it for everybody for 6
Till-
months from the date the local law was adopted.
Or maybe less
And we
than-
resend
or
out the
maybe
letters
less
by
than 6
certified mail.
Of notification.
Well, this notification, you have to send out certified letters.
Well,
Well,
send
we
it out
don't,
by
when we
certified
change the
mail.
speed limit, we put a stop sign
I
up,
tell
we're
you what, with the
changing the
hundreds
law,
and
we don't-
hundreds of special events that we have in this town, and we're dealing with three events, that's pretty good odds, I think. We were dealing with 100 events, then we'd say, maybe we have to be a little more strict. But
We
you know,
only had, I think we had 40, how many did we have last year, do you know? Events, do you
Like
remember how many?
dozens, not hundreds.
Well, I don't
But
know.
not, we didn't have hundreds and hundreds.
Well, I'm thinking of parade permits.
We
Dozens.
had 40,
Lot of them
50, what?
A lot of them will repeat.
Maybe 50 that were repeat, so we sent out about 50 letters, and about 27 of those people came in, so more than half came in to fill their application out in time. So
And the
I
others
thank,
will be
I
seeing.
thank them for doing that.
And the others will be seeing, I'm sure.
Absolutely. I agree. Why don't we set something up? I
don't
suggest
know.
we set something up for work session Thursday and see what we can do.
don't
And
we
we
make it-
discussed this. We discussed that we had
And
to be
we absolutely
strong,
said at the
and
work
I'm up
session
here
we weren't
bending
gonna
like a
do this.
jellyfish.
Yeah, I don't
get
understand
that.
why this
I
is.
get that.
I mean, we discussed
It's
this, and
just
we
the
discussed,
reality part of it
we even
when it-
discussed whether we would make an exception or whether we wouldn't make an
We did.
exception, and
We did.
what we were gonna do. So I'm not sure where that slippery slope line is coming that you're looking to do. You know, if you wanna change it, okay, we had a 60-day thing, so now you're going to make it an additional, another 2 months, and then somebody comes in for their summer event and say, well, so now are they under the old application and under the new application? Do they have to do the 120 days, or are
They'll
they
be
only at
under
the
the
40
new, but
days?
if we send out certified
Right.
letters of the notice, then I
Somebody's
think
gotta sign for it.
we've more diligently done our job in notifying the people that use these services within the town.
Now, what about somebody
Her
that
example's
hasn't had it?
perfect, she doesn't live in the town, she's not gonna read our
Yeah,
local news.
But she's also advertised for the event without a permit, and then she's telling us that
I
it's,
don't
you know.
disagree.
Why don't we,
But she's done that.
but we can
24
discuss it at
times
work
over the last
session,
year.
right?
Right.
And it does
Usually town
concern me a
service.
little, I am a little concerned about people that perhaps didn't have it the past year and didn't get the letter. So
Right.
we definitely need to get the word out there more.
Well,
and
that's what I'm
maybe,
saying, and that's
I don't wanna
exactly
say
what
any
the
names,
next
Tim Gannon
situation's
can
gonna
get
be.
it out in his paper. We need to get the word out somehow,
Gotta get online.
and get online, people gotta
So-
get online.
Thank you.
Thank you for
I'm not
spending
gonna
your
be here
time and
Thursday, so
coming
good
here.
luck to you.
So your application was returned to
Hopefully
you?
it won't be too.
Yes, because what we said was that if you're less than 45 days
Right.
before your event, because the fire marshal doesn't have time, the police
I know
department
what we
hasn't has time, so that we said that those applications would be denied.
Yep.
And that was after 4 or 5 meetings, and that is what
I understand.
transpired.
I know, and Diane, that probably wasn't easy for you either.
That was the rule, and
Right.
that's what we stuck to.
Right.
Thank you.
Yep.
Well, we're gonna put a little more human.
Good evening. I wanted to just start by saying I am honored to speak before the esteemed board of the town of Riverhead. Did everybody hear that?
All right, what are you asking?
Flattery
I
will,
wonder what Kenny needs.
Kenny, just state your name, please.
Full esteem or
I-
esteemed?
I'm Ken Zahler, and I'm here for the same reason that the previous person was here. Except that I delivered this to the appropriate town clerk over 40 days in advance, which had been the old required time period. I was there about 60 days in advance, and I was told, I'm sorry, but you're gonna have a penalty of about $600 because you're not here 90 days in advance. At which point I did not drop off any paperwork, and I started on my campaign to see what I could accomplish. Animal Rescue Fund did not receive anything. I checked and double-checked with everybody there who.
Did you have an event last year?
I don't remember if they had it last year or the year before, but I will tell you this, I could understand why they wouldn't have been aware of a change, because they hold similar adoption events all over the island, Huntington, Babylon, everywhere. And so I could understand how they were very aware of the 40-day minimum requirement.
And you came in within that
60.
60 days.
So I felt, well, everything will be fine, and then I was really surprised when I was told, no, you're not here at least 90 days before. So in any event, I have all the paperwork with me. I have the check in here for the application. I don't have any check in here for penalty. I am hopeful that the town will see fit to waive the penalty.
And you're a not-for-profit?
ARF is, not only is it a not-for-profit, it does not receive money from any governmental agency at all. Everything is donations, 100% donations. And I think it's important to point out that one of the board members I contacted, I think it was Mr. Hubbard, said, can you push it back? We can't push the date back because we're gonna run out of space, because we have committed to accept animals from the Riverhead shelter, okay, which we do on a regular basis. And we never take money from Riverhead for that. We also, I just wanna point out, if Riverhead is interested, we have a vet in a mobile unit that goes around and does spaying and neutering of feral cats all over Suffolk County at no charge to the town. If Riverhead's interested, ARF would be glad to do that as well. So I have my paperwork with me. I'd like to know, is it okay if I hand it to the town clerk?
No, we can't accept it because it is not, we haven't had a meeting, we have this policy in place. Until we alter the policy, we will be abiding by the policy. We meet tomorrow at Thursday,
Thursday.
at a work session. We'll discuss it at work session, and then we'll make a determination there whether we can accept the applications or not.
And what was the date that you actually formally tried to submit the application to the clerk?
Right, I tried on the Monday, the 25th of February.
Okay.
And the event is, what is it, April
April
27th, I
27th?
think, yeah, so it's,
No, 27th, Friday the 22nd.
okay. So I'll take this back with me, and I'll expect that somebody will let me know what the decision is.
Yeah, we have your contact information? if,
I
Jody
have an
does,
email.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I sent emails to actually yourself as well,
okay, thank you.
okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
What application you got in, Nick?
Please don't be a two.
I don't have any application. My name is Nicholas DePiero, and good evening, town board members. Like a continuation of what I started to say last week, how is the deadline for the grant coming along that was supposed to be on March 6th or 7th? For the
Oh, for the,
waste-
for the waste, for
waste
the,
energy?
for the waste to energy?
Yes.
We have not taken any action on it. They presented at the work session, and that is as far as we've taken taken that. It was the presentation to the work session. So there's no resolution before the town board at this point.
I haven't had any correspondence with them since since they were here for the last work session. I don't know if anybody else on the town board has had any correspondence
I
with them.
haven't either.
Okay. I'm just wondering if any one of the town board members ever reads what is in the local papers. For instance, the Riverhead Local.
We read the papers.
There was a very good article by none other, Mr. Greg Blass. And I would recommend everybody read the article, because he said many things that I wholeheartedly agree with. I know there's some people who are a little skeptical about what you read in the paper. Will Rogers once said he only knows what he reads in the paper. And that is, lots of times there is a lot of truth in what is put in the paper, and this is true. So I would suggest that everybody reads this latest article that Greg Blass wrote for the Riverhead Local.
Okay.
And that's all I have to say tonight.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Jim's in North Carolina already.
Yeah,
I know.
yeah, I'm gonna excuse myself in a couple seconds.
Hello,
Hi.
Talkie Church in Fading Hollow, Calverton Civic. I'm going to be briefer tonight than I was the other night. I do have letters to read to you that have been submitted. One of them may not have made it in. I can't tell by the 4 letters that you have on the agenda under correspondence whether, pardon?
What was the name, I can tell
We have a few. Jennifer Moley,
you?
KJ and Cristela Berbera.
Yes.
Okay, and Joseph and Tara Graziano.
Yes.
Okay. Has everyone on the board been able to read each of those letters?
We read, that's why it's so important for
Read
the letters to come into the town clerk, because then they go from the town clerk and they're distributed to myself and the whole board. So, and we do read all of the correspondence that we.
They were just, I think they were just submitted, one of them was just submitted today, so I
Yeah.
didn't know if everyone had a
Stamped
chance to
inside.
read each of them.
Yeah.
Okay. So everyone,
Jennifer and Kevin was today.
So for the benefit of the folks here, and just for the sake that I did come tonight, I'm not gonna read all of them. Did I hear a thank you over there?
There's no action on this board anyway, at this point.
Some of them have slight repeats to them, but, there we go. So I'm going to take just a few pieces out of each of the letters that just show emphasis to where the thoughts are of the homeowners. That's it. One of them couldn't be printed because of technical difficulties. Okay, so from the Moleys, Jennifer and Kevin, they introduced themselves and they said, we are writing to you in hopes of clarifying some questions we have as concerned members of the Riverhead community. And they introduced themselves, and that they had written a previous letter. Please note that with all due respect, we are still extremely concerned with this proposal and do not feel comfortable at all with the idea of this massive facility, along with all the hazards that accompany it being housed in our community. That being said, we have questions that we hope that you will be willing to address for us. We are respectfully wondering what your next steps are with this proposal. We are new members of this community, and as we stated before, we have grown to love where we live and the town of Riverhead so much. We appreciate the courtesy of being informed of this serious proposal of the anaerobic digester so close to our home. We are truly hoping to be more informed of the Riverhead Town's involvement and considerations of this serious proposal so close to residential areas as well as Riley Avenue Elementary School. How will the information be disseminated to your community members and residents? Unfortunately, because of the way we found out about the proposed anaerobic digester, we sincerely hope that we do not find ourselves in another situation where we are blindsided again. We would appreciate the courtesy of being informed and in the know of your follow-up steps of this anaerobic digester plant proposal, so very close to homes, local businesses, and schools. Okay, so I almost read you the whole thing, but that was the gist that hadn't been brought forward in the other letters.
I think, you know, at the work session that we had, it was a presentation made to us by CEA. CEA, yeah. It was a presentation made to the board. I think the board, it was a lot of information to take in. I think before we got to the point where they were telling us their dates and deadlines for the grants, I think that everybody on the board had said that they felt that it was an interesting prospect. But we certainly did need to do our homework on it and find out about it. They presented RINs as far as financing that. We had talked about going back to the financing, seeing even if that was possible. It was the first time that we had heard about whether the food or fuel for the anaerobic digesters, where that would come from. I think that they had said that they had no contracts for food waste. That is a big concern. How to finance it, as I said, is a big concern. I think the location was of concern. So I think that the board very much had a lot of the same concerns that the community is expressing. You know, it's kind of one of those double-edged swords when we want to be as transparent as possible when we're discussing new ideas or new things, to have somebody come and present it at a work session. I think we need to do a better job of being clearer on what the next step is after we do receive a proposal like this.
Thank you.
So that it is not as confusing as that was. And it's something that we did learn from. But, you know, we have to be able to have these discussions about items, and we'd like to have these discussions at the onset so that everybody is involved in hearing what we're hearing and digesting the information, no pun intended, at the same time. So that is part of it, and we could do a better job, like I said, of communication and communicating next steps. So we do realize that.
Okay, great.
Just for the record too, that would also have to have gone before a public hearing.
Sure.
Right.
So it's not like anything
Not
was
like it
trying
was
to
not
be
Sure.
slid by
Something could
anybody,
go
it
2
just, it
weeks.
was
Yeah.
the initial group work session conversation about it.
And I think one of the other things that we were all disappointed to hear, because I think that at one point or another, everyone on the board had a little information about it to see whether it was something that we even wanted to come to a work session to talk about. And I think every single person had said, you know, to the person who presented to us, that we expected them to come meet with the local civics prior to coming to the work session. And that there should have been some feedback and contact with the civics beforehand, which was not carried out, as, you know, was indicated would happen.
And
Yeah,
you're,
they should've
am I
never been-
quoting you right, that you were disappointed that he hadn't fulfilled
Yeah,
that?
they
Yes.
should have never been put on the work session agenda without.
My question, in
knowing
these
that they'd
letters,
gone
what
before the
I'm,
civics.
because I'm also new to this process and need to educate myself so that I can properly educate folks who are asking me questions. And rather than just referring them to a website or give a call down to town hall, and then they go through the labyrinth of, oh my God, I don't know what I heard, and I don't know what to take home with me. I wonder if, before it comes to a work session, if the fellow addressed you in November with just sort of the idea of it, that kind of idea can't show up at, say, the civic roundtable, let's say, January 29th, just as the idea that you may get a call, this may show up in front of us, we're not sure. That might help us to kind of go, oh, wow, I wonder what that is. And then we would do some of that work on our own, like, oh, that sounds neat, or that sounds scary, or maybe we need to, you know, get ourselves a little bit ready.
I don't disagree with you, and I believe there is a bit of a disconnect there. I know
Okay.
that, you know, previously a lot of projects did not go to a civic before, or have contact with the civics before. We have asked people to reach out to civics when they have projects, or when they're, you know, a lot of people have ideas that never even go anywhere. But we do ask them to contact the civics beforehand. So, like I said, I think we need to do a better job of making sure that
Okay.
that takes place as we have requested.
Great. So, I won't read this last one, actually, the long one from the Grazianos. I think they have repeated some of the previously stated concerns, and it was read into the record already. They're just sending another letter bulleting what they had before. And their concern echoes the Foley's? They echo the Foley's, Moley's of the time period between November 28th and February 14th. And moving forward, how will you get the word out to the residents of Calverton and Old Orchard Estates with updates on this situation as we part here tonight? What happens from here?
I don't think we've really discussed where it's going. I think we've sort of taken a little bit of a step back on this
Okay.
because some things should have happened beforehand. You know, there has been a lot of communication from the community that this is not something they'd like to see cited in that particular space. Whether, you know, the town would like to see it and see it somewhere else, I don't really know yet. But I think for the moment, because I think there was so much miscommunication on the way it happened, that I think we've taken a little bit of a step back at this point, given it a little bit of a pause, and I think, you know, that's where we're gonna stand at this point
And
right
we all
now.
we all had questions too.
Well,
I mean,
that I heard.
did.
So what I'm most
I'm
concerned
not
about
done
that I
with
can
mine.
take away to
Going
the
to
folks
take it
in the
myself.
Civic is to let them know. So in your pause time, give us an idea of,
Well, I think.
you're gonna do
I
some
think
research, I would
We're
imagine,
all
or something
doing,
like
we're all
that.
doing research on it.
Okay.
I think during this period, I think that they can reach out to the Civic, and they can come talk to the Civic.
The developer, you're
about,
saying?
Yeah,
Okay.
about what a waste-to-energy plant is. Because I don't necessarily think that the waste-to-energy plant is, and I think when people came up and spoke, that is maybe, you know, whether that should be something we cite in the town of Riverhead or not, I don't know.
Right.
Where it would be cited, obviously, that is up to a big question, and we've heard quite loudly and clearly that
Oh, not
that
too
is not
loud.
an area
We are
that
clear.
people would like it cited.
Yeah.
But I don't think that should negate, maybe coming to speak to you about what it is.
Yeah.
To see, you know, just to educate some people, if you would like them to come speak to you.
They have reached out, I haven't reached back, and I wanted to get through tonight and to see, and to get this interaction happening. I will return the communication and step forward from there by the end of the week, let's
And
say.
if you could let us know too, if you choose not to have him come speak at your Civic, if you would let us know that it's something your Civic is not interested in.
So I'll let you know our decision, and I can send
Yeah.
it through an email through Patrick to you.
No, never
Okay.
hurts to listen.
Pardon?
I think we all understand why people got upset, you know,
Yeah.
why the residents got upset. It was just, unfortunate that it happened like that, and we all feel badly about it. We're not moving forward. We feel as though that's not a great location, and we're not moving forward at this time. As the supervisor said, we're definitely taking a step back.
So could we make a request that you let us know through, well, I don't know when our next civic roundtable is, it's not for a few months, right?
I think- Yeah, usually
Quarterly.
quarterly.
Well, we just
yeah.
had one on
Try-
January 29th, but
try to think when
could
we
we
had the
say
la-
that between now and January 20, and then the next one, that should you come to some sort of a decision, that you could,
I will notify the Civic if there's
Notify our
anything,
Civic
if
in
there's
that
any
way.
coming up, if there's anything coming
We're
up.
gonna
we-
encourage this
yeah.
company to reach out to you.
well, as I spoke, they have, and we will reach back. So, and I'll apprise you of what that is.
And just,
Yeah, and
as Tim was saying, you know, if there's ever a resolution, as we notice the public hearings, there's always a public hearing with a public comment portion, prior to
Right.
anything then coming to a following board meeting. It's usually a couple weeks later where it gets voted on, or if there's a public comment section where there's a lot of public comment, or there's still a lot of questions to be answered, the public comment is held open, and you can have more than one public comment, section on something, so it's not, you know, that there's one opportunity if there's a lot of questions and things that needs to be answered. Because the whole point of the public comment section is that we hear your comments, and we go back and do what we need to do and find out our homework, and then, you know,
Right.
go on from there.
We just
So,
can't do it on our own motion.
yeah.
Great, so thanks very much. I'll make sure that whatever response that we make to the developer, that I'll apprise you of that, and we look forward to, at least if something does develop, if you let us know before the next quarterly,
know
or
these-
maybe at the quarterly if it's that close,
I can
right?
tell you, these 6 o'clock meetings sort of mess up with my
Don't even talk to me about this
My
meeting, I thought it was
digestion.
at 2
Yeah.
o'clock and I
Can I-
changed my
can I
whole
just
day.
ask-
anaerobic digestion's going crazy right now.
Can I just ask that any correspondence be sent to the town clerk, as has all of the letters from the community, so that the
Oh,
whole
that-
town
that's
board
how to
can
get it
see
done?
your
Sure.
correspondence, rather than just the supervisor's
Oh, and then
office
that
and
gets
Patrick?
dispersed from there, I don't
Yeah.
have to do like a CC to each of you?
No.
No,
Just
that's
straight-
why things that go to the town clerk is then
Town clerk.
distributed.
Live and learn, thank you.
Full
Thank you.
They
transparency.
scanned in and
Thank you.
emailed to us immediately.
Okay, thank you very much.
My phone dings 10 times a day. Ding, 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 ding.
Hi, Greg Fisher. I'm from Calverton. Two things. First,
Mustache, what happened to your mustache? Fell off?
no. But the beard thing, I lose that for election season. But
Well, you can grow it back.
thanks. Two things. One is to speak in support of the people that want the extension of time to file on the events right now, and on notice generally from the town. Right now, I think the News Review is under 1 in 10 persons in the town in terms of circulation, and I think also, not counting for online circulation, it's tough to gauge, but also Newsday is under 1 in 10. The only thing that has proper notice actually are the, like the Hometown Shopper and those kinds of, advertising papers, if you would consider making them the official papers for the purpose of public notice, because we're just not getting people the information via
Oh, can you imagine?
News Review or under via Newsday. So, and I
What,
do
you're a town
support.
crier?
Well, those kinds of things, they
I
have
have to read
100%
my
drop
first meeting,
circulation.
I
That's 100% of households. Those, the little junk papers. So, but I do appreciate what the town is doing and reconsidering at their work session for the couple people that missed the deadlines. One of the biggest reasons for exodus from New York State is people looking for what they term as kinder and gentler government. So that's in keeping with that, and I appreciate that accommodation for those people. The second thing is, what I really came for was the anaerobic digester, because I'm very close to that proposed siting. Now, Crown is the only real commercial thing in that neighborhood. It's not a commercial corridor. I would really appreciate at some point for the town to make accommodation for even Crown to be moved to a more fitting commercial site now that the dump is shut down. I wouldn't want to see the expansion by doubling with another business that tiny commercial corridor on Youngs Avenue. Not to mention the issues of anaerobic digesters, which I think you're becoming familiar with now. Any kind of corrosive business to that area, tax-paying area, will harm the value of those homes, any off-gassing, extra traffic, and then those people get to appeal, as their values drop, they get to appeal their assessments, and that could impact revenue to the town, not to mention the extra weight on the roads. Youngs Avenue doesn't survive much now, just with Crown, and we're pretty clear that if we do the digester there, they have to import trash from outside of town, which would mean a lot more traffic and road wear, and not to mention seagulls and every other problem you get when you're bringing in live trash.
State bird of Nevada.
It would be of Calverton too.
Or Utah.
We want to, and being close to that, I certainly don't want, the compost and whatever wafting in my windows. And I don't think any other person could sell their home as easily in those very nice neighborhoods if we do have that kind of open garbage event. So I don't see a way for an anaerobic digester to put there, not to mention the fact that there is a history of explosions with those devices, and we don't have the firefighting equipment for it. So the most of them now are located in the western portion of the state where they're using animal waste, but they're not around residential neighborhoods. So this would be a first if we were to put that in that siting.
Explosions, I've never heard that one.
Yeah, it's an explosion hazard. You could look up explosion anaerobic digester, you'll get a bunch of them. We provide a pretty good buffer zone for protecting tiger salamanders, but this wouldn't protect many humans. So
You're on a roll, Greg. You're
I
on a roll.
think it's a really bad place. So, thank you very much for your time.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Greg.
All right. Move to adjourn?
I think we have one more speaker. Yes, you may.
I'll just give them a
got you.
Again,
You wanted something else?
Nicholas Shapiro. I just, I miss my old buddy George Smelcher, because if he was here tonight, he would, as a follow-up to what Greg, last gentleman just, George would be saying, something stinks around here about that anaerobic digester. That would be George's remark, not mine. I would also like to ask about the 6 o'clock time slot. Whose idea was that? Was that for the convenience of the board, or was that for the convenience of the general public? Because
We did it instead of the 7 o'clock meetings, especially because of during the winter time and the colder months, and when the time changes, we had less people coming to the 7 o'clock meetings. So since we switched it to the 6 o'clock meetings, we've had more people attend, the 6 o'clock meetings.
Oh, okay,
So
so
that was the reasoning behind it.
so it's going to stay at 6 o'clock?
We have it scheduled for 6 o'clock through the rest of this year. We have the 2 o'clock, the off, 2 o'clock and 6 o'clock, it switches back and forth.
Okay, I guess I'll just have to eat a little earlier to get to these meetings.
I'm glad you did.
6 o'clock, I'll have 5 o'clock. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Ellen Hoyle, Riverhead. I was gonna keep my mouth shut, but
I think, yeah.
as far as the extensions of the notifications go, my only concern is, and this would be a question for Robert that you would need to ask, is would there be any kind of litigation potential or legal pitfalls to granting extensions on a case-by-case basis if you've already denied extensions to people?
I don't think any
It wouldn't be
extensions
case
have
by
been denied.
case, it would be a time period.
So basically, if I'm saying you can have one and I tell another person you can't have one, does that person now get to come back and say, well, now I'm suing Riverhead because they've been giving them out?
I don't think anybody's been
Nobody's
denied, I
been
think they
told
just have
they
to pay the
couldn't,
penalties.
except for this one that came in today.
Bob, would you like to?
But you
what-
understand the question?
I'm not gonna render a legal
No,
advice.
No, but you understand what I'm asking.
They were denied.
Comments are acknowledged, but
You
I
can
don't- I don't think they're applicable here,
Yeah.
because I don't think there's anybody who's in that situation.
Okay.
You can always sue, but,
But there have to be damages to
right,
sue.
you'd have to show
And-
damages.
John McAuliffe from Riverhead and from EPCAL Watch. I just wanted to ask for some clarification on things that have developed since the letter that was received, that we sent to you. I gather from the news review report of your reaction to Mr. Bienstock's unfortunate experience. I just feel, though we disagreed, I thought he was a very energetic, committed person, but people get themselves into trouble, and he did, and I think he should have informed the board of that situation as he was functioning in a very important position as the primary interlocutor, and in a sense was carrying the reputation and integrity of 555. So that was the point of the original letter. What's developed since then is the question of 555 itself. I gather from Tim's article that they did not inform you of his problems. And I wonder whether you have considered, when you say that his problems don't affect things because he's not a principal, I wonder if you think that the failure of 555 to inform you, as obviously a principal, casts some doubt about their whole responsibility and integrity in the process. So that would be the follow-up question. The third question, which was referred to in the letter, is about due diligence and whether it was a reasonable expectation on the board's part that the attorneys, not so much the town attorney, but the attorneys specifically responsible for EPCAL, would have determined this, would have done a search about the principal people that you were working with, and should have given you due warning, and whether that, again, has some implication about the process of how things went forward, and whether there's now some time for reconsideration.
Well, I don't know whether Mr. Beaningstock informed 555 or not of the judgment against him. I have not asked them that, so I do not know if he informed them or when he informed them. When we were during the qualified and eligible, when we were looking, into 555 and Daniel Preston, prior to or going into the qualified and eligible hearing, there was some question of who was on the operating agreement there. So during that period, Mr. Preston was one of the, I believe, voting partners, if I remember correctly, as well as 555, and then I can't remember if they switched to two of the sons, two of the Gramasian sons back and forth at that time, because originally the contract was with, I think, 555 Real Estate Ventures, and then it was two different names that they switched back and forth of. So we were doing on those principal operators are the people that we looked into at that point. We did not consider looking into Mr. Beaningstock. I don't know what his position was at that time as they were switching back and forth with both companies. And it is not something that we had considered looking into at that time. But as with recent information that we found out, we did reach out to 555. We asked them to please appoint somebody else as the Director of Development here and remove Mr. Beaningstock from the position. They have agreed to do that, and have since appointed somebody else to be the Development Director here for the project from CAT at EPCAL.
Yeah, well,
so that's where we stand.
Come back to that separately, but in terms of the process, he came into it after the contract had been
No,
written,
I think
or
he
he
was
was still
in there. I don't
was
know-
he involved
I don't
in
know
the
who-
contract
I don't think
drafting
we were
itself?
given, I don't think we were given the roles of everybody, because they also brought in several consultants at that time. I don't know if they were clear other than who the principals were, and I think that's who we looked into when we were vetting the deal. We did not look into
But I'm
the
moving
employees.
back the time frame a little bit to actually your predecessor board. In terms of the actual drafting of the contract and the discussion of the content of the contract, was he involved in that? Was 555 involved in that, or was that the result only of
I wasn't here at that time, but I
Illuminati?
believe when the contract was agreed to, back in December, 555 was on the contract with Daniel Preston. For the original signing of the contract. Bob, do you remember? They had two different names. It was 555 Real Estate 1 or 555 Ventures 1, and they did switch the name of the 555 LLC.
They did. When they
within that
switched the name, I
contract.
voted no. I
Right.
didn't think we should go forward with the qualified and
Yes,
eligible, but the rest of the board
I
voted
cheered you
yes.
on.
Yeah.
Well, Catherine and I were.
All right, well, let's
You were
just,
here when we
let's
scheduled
just,
the qualified and eligible.
When we
And when they
scheduled
switched
the
the
qualified
names,
and eligible.
you
and
voted
eligible.
for it to
Okay,
move
I
it
thought you meant the
forward.
contract.
No, you voted when they changed the names to move it forward to the qualified and eligible. Both of you did.
perhaps you might try to get a clarification from 555 whether, in fact, they were aware of his situation. And if they were aware, why they did not inform you. And let's just stipulate for a point of discussion that if they were aware and didn't inform you, then what does that say about the integrity of 555? So, and that's obviously a stipulation and a question. The other point I would make, I mean, you gave a very nice quote to Tim about the person that is replacing him, Amy Hubalt. And I don't know.
I don't know Amy Hulda, I just
Yeah.
was given her name.
Right.
I don't,
Well, it may be, this doesn't disqualify her, but it does raise questions about whether she's a development person or something else, because she takes about 10 minutes on internet to discover. She was a Governor Christie political operative who got a very nice plum job in the New Jersey Transit Authority, and then left immediately upon the election of the new governor in New Jersey and went to work for the Gymnasians, where she carries also this title with their project in New Jersey. There is a certain circularity because the Gymnasians had given major contributions to Governor Christie as well as other Republican Party funds in New Jersey. So her role, whether she has the professional skills that are relevant to be the ongoing connection with the town, I think is worth, again, exploring and knowing who it is you're dealing with. And
Yeah, we have not sat down with them, we have not met with them, they, you know, we have, as I said, we've gone into contract with them, they've had their 90-day due diligence period, they've extended it to the second day 90 due diligence period. It's my understanding that they have gone recently out to the site, but other than that, we have not met with them, or they have not presented to us. I know that they're supposed to be getting a team together. Nobody from that team has been presented to us, so we expect, you know, over the next couple months that we will hear more information from them.
And
So we don't have anything to base anything differently than what they said during the qualified and eligible as what they were gonna do at the site.
Right, okay, but again, I think it's a question of knowing who you're dealing with.
Yeah,
is
so are you
important.
suggesting that we do background checks on everybody that's representing 555 or that speaks up at the podium?
That's a particular interlocutor for the board for a major development project.
So the lawyers,
For
the
the town. I would think it
representatives,
is very important, yeah.
anybody that's representing them, okay,
Um,
interesting.
On this question of due diligence, if they have not completed it after this 90-day period, what happens?
They have to either release the property or head towards closing, I believe is what it is. I don't have the contract in front of me, but there's no provision for an extension of an additional due diligence period.
Okay, but it's entirely up to them whether or not they release the property.
We have to file.
Well,
the map.
no, they have to, I believe, I don't have the contract in front of me, but I believe that they have to proceed to closing at that point.
We have to give them a file map, and we have to give them clean title before they can close. That's in the contract.
Okay. And then related to that is the question that we discussed at the last meeting, and Mr. Wooten, I very much appreciated clarifying the property question. And now I have seen this language from the supplemental findings statement adopted by CDA Resolution 11 in July of 2016, which says the total developable area of the lots, including the western runway, is 593.2 acres.
Nope, I was off.
Now, has that been?
I thought it was 597, so I was wrong.
Excuse me?
I thought it was 597, but.
Yeah, no, I'm not critical at all. You got us closer to the reality than any other discussion.
But that's on the 50, that's based on the 50 lot subdivision.
It's based on what was studied.
That
Right.
says that of the lots,
The
the
50
total
lot.
developable lots of that
A
property.
50 lot
We've
subdivision.
been saying that.
It's not a 50 lot subdivision anymore. It's an 8 lot subdivision.
So
And
in
the
changing it from 50 to
Could
8,
you read the statement, because I know the DEC has not signed off on the final. There was, is that the EI?
this is the CDA resolution number 11 in July of
Right.
2016.
Right, and what does it say?
It says the total developable area of the lots, including the western runway, is 593.2 acres. I mean,
But
it seems a
that-
very
That has not been
definitive
signed off
statement.
by the DEC.
But it's the town's position.
Right, but we
It's
did,
stating that's the town's
but it does
position.
not, I do not believe in the contract that we say there's only 600 acres of developable lots. That's not what it says in the contract that we're selling.
But this previous decision by the town isn't relevant then.
I'd have to read the whole thing, and I can check with our attorneys, but I
Alright,
do not believe so.
I would hope that that could be clarified, because this question of what exactly is being sold and how
The 1,643 acres on the 8 lot subdivision with, I believe it's lot 8, 7, and 6.
But what we got into last time is the difference between the 600 and the
The
1,600.
DEC
and
has
who-
not made a final decision
Right.
on what the lots that we are selling, what is considered developable property and what is not. They have not
But
made
the
a
town
final
is not
statement.
involved in that dialogue.
We have
Is
to
that-
file the subdivision map. We have to complete that process. So I don't see any reason why the town, since we went into contract and scheduled the qualified and eligible, why the DEC has not been approached to say, what do you wanna see here? And what's developable and what's not developable? I don't see why that hasn't happened, because we can't close on the property until we complete the subdivision map, so Nobody's moving on that.
But
Yeah,
does the
we are
town,
moving on the subdivision map. We had a resolution the other day where we hired McLean to complete the subdivision map to be presented to the planning board. Our planning department is drafting the resolutions and determining lead agency to present to the planning board, so that should be done within a couple weeks. We need the Suffolk County Health Department to sign off, and we need the map and plan for the sewer district.
14 months later,
but
we're
again,
getting
the
started.
question
It's
that,
not 14 months later that we're getting started, but this was started as soon. We've already done their title search. We needed to complete that in the beginning. They did their title search. They sent that back to us. Our attorneys have answered their title search questions, and that has been sent back to them.
No reason why we couldn't have pursued the map. But anyway, go
yeah,
ahead.
We can't
different, that's a
pursue the map
different
until
set of
we
issues.
finish it.
The question that I'm again trying to get a handle on is, from the town's view, that language would suggest that there's only 593
I don't
acres.
have that in
Right.
front of me. I haven't read the whole thing. I know that there has been correspondence from the DEC after the EIS was done that called for clarification that was never clarified. That 50-lot subdivision they're referring to them was never adopted. So there was no final determination made by the DEC as to what could be developed on that 50-lot subdivision. There has also been no final determination by the DEC of what can be developed on the lots that we are selling them.
But from the viewpoint of the town, is there any limit
The
on
view-
the amount
view-
of
the
land?
viewpoint- For the viewpoint of the town, we are selling them
1,600 acres,
1,643
period.
acres. We have not clarified, we did not sell them 598 acres for development. We sold them, we are in contract to sell them the 1,643 acres with an 8-lot subdivision. They get several of the lots, which DEC will have the final decision, which we do not have jurisdiction over, as to what has to be excluded for exceptions.
Okay, so
We do
for
not
the-
have, we do not have jurisdiction over that to decide that. If they want to go to the DEC on their subdivision, when they develop, and present to the DEC that they feel 650 acres are developable, they may be able to get that from the DEC. I hope not. But there is a possibility. It's the DEC that has that jurisdiction to tell them what boundaries, because of, inhabitants or grasslands or whatever it is that they perceive as being there, that they can't develop. That is not part of the town's jurisdiction, because we sold them more than those 600 acres. So it is up to them to get a determination from the DEC.
John, if I could I'll just say something real quick, because my head's spinning so fast right now, I'm afraid I might lose my seat. When we had to put a map together, when the town decided to wait, when John Nivens and Ski Mountain was not gonna do this subdivision on their dime for the town, 8 years ago or 9 years ago, the town decided we would do the study. We invested almost $700,000 doing this study to create a map, to create something that is sellable. Because you can have every dream in the world that wants to go on that property, but if you don't have defined lines, you've got nothing to sell. So we created a map. After studying between all of the different, between the Conservancy and the Pine Barrens and the Society for the Hooted Owl and the Butterfly, or whatever, all these different organizations, environmentalists got together, and we created a map with the DEC. They
Yeah.
were
Oh,
part
we
of this.
definitely did work with the DEC,
And
but
we
there was
we
never a
had the
final
study.
determination.
The study was at 593 acres. After all the studying was done, they limited it in totality, what they felt was a reasonable development of the property that would balance it with what their concerns were. That's why it comes down to 593.4 acres, that's what the town studied. That's where our boundary lines are. If they wanna go beyond that, good luck to them. If they're gonna go and do the study and everything they need to do, I don't ever see that happening, because I don't even think they need it, to be honest with you. But that's why you keep quoting that, but I can't see them going beyond that. So, developable acres, that is what was studied by the town and what the DEC recognized as developable, and it all came around the runways.
Yep.
The outskirts were left alone.
So, looking at it another way, the price that they're paying per acre of usable land is really not known, because if it's
It's
600,
not known.
if it's 600 by $40 million, it's
Right.
one price. if it's 1,000
But the
by
bigger
40
picture, it was
million,
never,
it's-
for me, and I'll say it till the day I walk out of this office on December 31st, it was never about what we got we weren't there to sell the property. We were there to create an economic engine for the county and for Riverhead and to create jobs. That's what our edict from the federal government when they gave us that land. Not how much can you get
cross
off, and
our
how much you get by
fingers.
selling it. That was never part of it.
Right.
And it shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be.
So Jim
Okay.
and I went to the DEC, and we met with the
It's
DEC.
nice to have 40 million, I'll give you that.
And the DEC gave us an aerial, and in the aerial, it had yellow zones, it had red zones, and it had green zones. And the red zones were the habitat protection zones, the yellow zones were the grasslands by the runways, right, Jim? Remember?
Oh,
I think
yeah.
I gave it to Denise
Oh, I
Civiletti, she
used to
probably
chase those
still has
birds
it.
out there all the time.
And there were areas that you couldn't build. And then when we were going back and forth and saying, well, you want us to put dirt and plant grass on a concrete runway. That's what they wanted us to do, if we were going to be building on the grasslands. So it was a shift. So, okay, if you're gonna build on the grasslands, then we're gonna make you create new grasslands. So that's what the DEC was talking to Jim and I about when we went to meet with them.
It was, yeah.
Do they
It was a
have to,
trade-off.
I don't want to take any more of your time, just one last question. Do they have to resolve with DEC the developable area before the actual sale takes place, or can that just happen sometime down the road?
They're
'Cause you've
gonna,
sold the
they're married
1,600
to the
acres.
DEC if they buy the property,
Yeah,
not to us.
yeah, so,
Well, they'll be,
but
well,
the
they'll be
decision,
married to us through
Jeff, do you
site
wanna
plan
come
and
for a
stuff
minute?
like that.
but they don't need to ask DEC for a
You know what, I'm gonna have
decision
Jeff,
until-
Jeff Murphy here, he's our planner.
Oh, CDA property.
Yeah.
She's acquiescing to you, Jeff. Nice try, though.
Anything they develop here has to go through DEC.
Jeff, would you explain what the DEC's role is in selling, in creating the subdivision lot that we're creating for sale?
Well, and the question is, do they have to do that before the final sale, or
Yeah.
can that just happen at any time in the future?
Well,
Could you just come up to the
Be done by
microphone?
May 20th.
Yeah.
DEC has to sign off on this before we approve the subdivision map.
Right.
But the DEC is signing off on 600 acres or
The
1,643
whole
acres?
1,600 acres.
Right, so they're signing off on 1,643 acres is what the DEC is signing off on.
But keeping in mind that there's a wild scenic recreational river line that runs a mile, I think, that would be north of the river, the riverbank that comes into the property, that nothing could be built within there. There's certain areas within the development that
There's
things
lots of
can't be
restricted
built in,
areas.
lots of areas.
Once we get the revised subdivision map, which we do not have at this point, it will be sent out to all the involved agencies, including DEC, at which time staff, about 10 of us, would go marching down to DEC office and have that conversation with them again.
But we will not be putting buildings on there, so they will be just signing off on the 1,643. It will be the purchaser's responsibility to get the DEC approval for what they're going to build there.
When they go to submit a site plan application, they will have to get go get a DEC permit for those lots.
Correct.
But we did a secret study and a secret analysis that determined how many jobs we could possibly create there and what infrastructure improvements would have to be made, whether it be widening William Floyd Parkway, widening 25, widening Edwards Avenue, widen all the way up to the property. I mean, in order to get 1 million square feet of build out.
Well, I think it's the car
I
trips
mean-
per day.
It's the car trips, and I think it's
Not a million,
5,000,
10
which is the
million, right.
trigger or something.
It's a car trips per
5,000.
day, it's a car trips per day.
Right, so that is all taken into consideration when the map is designed and how many square feet of buildable space they're gonna get.
That is to be determined once we get
Thank you, Jeff.
into the site plan process. It's all hypothetical right now until we get the
Yep.
subdivision approved, and then we actually see a site plan application submitted. Then we'll start to know what we're really gonna get.
But the site plan application will occur after the close of the contract.
Correct.
The site plan for the individual lots that the town is responsible to create on a map.
No, the town is only responsible for creating the 8 lots for sale.
Right, we have to create the subdivision map, that's what I just said.
Okay. All right, thank you, Jeff. Any other questions?
Thank you, John.
If not, can I have a first and second to close the meeting?
No, I sort of like it here. Anybody else want to say anything?
Jim, I got a half a turkey sandwich in my office if you want it.
First and second, please. Tim?
My gosh. I'm gonna miss this place for about a minute.
Gonna miss this